In part 1, I talked about the benefits of a wide stance. Since then, I've received some great questions in the comments like, wait, your current setup isn't wide, or what about the pro riders who rip on a narrow stance? These are fantastic points and exactly why I wanted to make this follow-up. As you reach an advanced level, you'll naturally be able to perform regardless of your stance width. Think of these videos as tools to get a feel for it. Once you've mastered the technique, I want you to build your own personal theory. Now, let's dive into the narrow stance. What defines a narrow stance varies depending on your physicality and personal feel, but for me, anything under 56 centimeters falls into the narrow category. For the next clip, I'm at 54 centimeters with angles at plus 24 degrees / 0 degrees. A narrow stance feels effortless and natural. It's perfect for technical agility, like these dolphin turns or quick short turns where you need that snappy response. Let's break down the benefits of a narrow stance. First, it significantly increases pelvic mobility and agility, making precise movements much easier. I think it's ideal for free riding, especially when you're working with side banks or natural hits. The increased agility allows for lightning-fast edge-to-edge transitions, even in mellow turns like these. It also feels much more natural and puts less strain on the body. That's why a narrow stance is perfect for these shallow, carved turns. For long, sweeping carves or just relaxed cruising, a narrow stance is definitely my go-to choice. On the other hand, there is one drawback to a narrow stance. That is its inability to handle aggressive, high-pressure edging. Since you can't utilize much torsion, board twist, it's difficult to engage the edge starting from the nose. If you force the board onto a steep angle too quickly, the tail tends to wash out in the latter half of the turn. Of course, this depends on the board specs. I'm not riding a hammerhead here, but in my analysis, this is the general trend. The tail will slide out. Think of it like a car. A narrow stance just isn't built for sudden, sharp steering. If you're looking for deep, aggressive carves where you're burying the edge into the snow, a wide stance definitely has the upper hand. Unlike the narrow setup, you can really crank the board over. It gives you superior grip, the stability to withstand high centrifugal force, and a naturally lower center of gravity. For high-speed carving or deep, aggressive turns, wide is the way to go. Now you might be thinking, wait, Alpine riders have super narrow stances, yet they pull off even crazier carves than freestyle riders. Here's my take. In Alpine, you can rely 100% on the gear. The boots are as stiff as ski boots, way stiffer than any high back. On both toe and heel sides, you can literally lean your entire weight into the boot, and it will support you. Even if you hammer the board during transitions, the board itself is incredibly stiff and stable enough to handle the pressure. Instead of fighting with your own muscles, you're basically leaning into the hardware. Plus, the purpose of the ride is completely different. Alpine boards aren't designed for deep, drawn-out carves that snap back up the hill. They're built for pure speed and fast downward carving transitions. In that context, a narrower stance is actually an advantage. It allows for lightning-fast edge changes and superior agility at high speeds. Next up, benefit number 2 of a narrow stance. It makes flat ground tricks much easier. Since I'm using a flat ground specific setup for this clip, I've set my width to 56 centimeters, slightly on the narrow side, with a duck stance at plus 9 degrees / minus 9 degrees. Take a look at this kicking out motion. If your stance is too wide, you have to swing your legs across a much larger radius, which puts a massive strain on your pelvis. It's just exhausting. With a narrow stance, you can kick out with much more agility, movements that require pelvic rotation like sonnet, which combines a frontside board slide with a smooth rotation feel effortless and smooth. Personally, if you're focusing on tricks like sonnet or Owen, I find a narrower stance to be far more effective. Additionally, a narrower stance actually generates more rotational power for spins. This is due to a physics principle called the law of conservation of angular momentum. Feel free to Google that for the deep dive, or check out some dedicated flat ground trick YouTubers for the technical breakdown. Think of it like a figure skater. They spin much faster when they tuck their arms in than when they have them spread wide. It's the same logic here. By narrowing your stance, you create a more compact axis of rotation, which boosts your spin speed. So if you're looking to level up your spin game, a slightly narrower setup will give you a significant advantage over a wide stance. We've covered the benefits of a narrow stance, but if you're not 177 centimeters, you're probably wondering, what's the best width for my height to nail those deep carves? Let's figure that out. While there's no such thing as a universal stance, having a benchmark for deep arc carving specific setups can be a huge help when you're experimenting. So based on what we've felt and discovered on the snow, we've put together a rough guide. Let's start with my height. I'm 177 centimeters, so I fall into the 175 to 185 centimeter range. For riders in this bracket who want to go all in on deep arc deep carving with a freestyle board, we'd suggest a width of 60 to 62 centimeters. There are two reasons for this. First, it's the result of us obsessively tweaking our own setups until it eventually clicked. Second, looking at pro riders in Japan, most are around 165 to 175 centimeters. Their setups usually sit between 54 to 58 centimeters. But if there's a 10 centimeter difference in height, it only makes sense to add 2 to 4 centimeters to the stance width. It's our own hypothesis, but if a rider at 165 centimeters is riding 58 centimeters, and I'm 10 centimeters taller but riding the exact same width, it's going to feel way too narrow for me. Based on that logic, we've created this guide for deep arc carving. Of course, everyone is different. If it feels weird or your knees or pelvis starts to ache, stop immediately. But we believe you'll discover so much more by testing different setups. Give it a try. Let us know in the comments if you've had any aha moments or noticed a difference in your riding after tweaking your stance. Every body is different, so your feedback helps everyone in this community grow. Now this gets a little nerdy, but we'd like to explain how we categorize these stance widths at a height of 177 centimeters. We've actually tested everything from 54 centimeters all the way to 62 centimeters. Think of 54 centimeters as ultra narrow and 62 centimeters as ultra wide, with 56, 58, and 60 as the steps in between. Starting with 54 centimeters, the benefit of this narrow stance is agility and effortless transitions. The downside is that deep, high-speed carving gets pretty difficult. We'd recommend this for surf ride styles, or for those hitting the backcountry, side country, and tree runs where you need quick maneuvers. In our experience, people who prefer this narrow width are usually powder junkies, riding decks like Gentum Stick. Moving on to 56 centimeters, it's still narrow but not ultra. The advantage here is that the board becomes easier to pop. At 54 centimeters, you have to shift your weight too far to the nose for nollies, but at 56 centimeters, it's much easier to load the board and get that rebound. We also felt it's great for short turns. The downside, common to all narrow stances, is that torsion is harder to use, making it tough to really tilt the board for deep carves. If we're going all in on ground tricks, 56 centimeters feels the best. Think of riders on spread or Rice 28 boards. That's the vibe. Next, 58 centimeters. In our view, this is the balanced setup. It leans toward the narrow side, so it has those specific pros and cons. We'd recommend this for run tricks, where you're mixing tricks into your carves, or for park and general freestyle. Boards like WRX fit this style perfectly. Then there's 60 centimeters. From here, we're entering the wide category. The edge grip gets much stronger, it's easier to tilt the board, and you can maintain a lower, more stable form. The downside is the opposite of narrow. You lose agility, and it can be tiring for your knees and pelvis. We're used to it, so it's fine, but some might feel the strain. We see this as carving-focused run tricks. Heavy on the carve, but still doing tricks. It's ideal for carving-specific boards like BC Stream or Ogasaka. Finally, 62 centimeters, the ultra wide. We had a period where we rode this wide to maximize the benefits of a wide stance. The goal was to go 100% all in on deep carving. We basically sacrificed short turns to get that stability. This works best on those same carving decks like BC or Ogasaka. Stance width is a debated topic, and there's no single right answer, but we hope this provides a good starting point for your own setup. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more tips.